itself for an apocalypse that never came. And again in 2018. The days passed and these were soon forgotten, and the world moved on. Today we are confronted with another end-of-the-world prophecy. Brazilian psychic claims on June 24th an alien invasion will take place. As geopolitical tensions rise, it really does feel as if we're living in the end times. Today we discuss the connection between secret societies, aliens, the spirit world, and why June 24th might be the most significant date on the timeline. Donald Trump on Wednesday made a crucial step to end the ongoing Iranian-American war. Quote, "This great deal will bring peace and security," unquote. With a prediction of sudden destruction right around the corner, we have to wonder, is this simply a situation of recycling an old date?
It's a bunch of nonsense.
Or a revelation misunderstood? Before 1582, the Western world used the Julian calendar, introduced by Julius Caesar in 45 BC. It assumed a solar year was exactly 365.25 days long. However, the actual solar year is approximately 365.2422 days. This tiny discrepancy of about 11 minutes per year meant the calendar drifted out of sync with the solar equinoxes by roughly 1 day every 128 years. By the 16th century, this drift had caused the spring equinox to move significantly away from its traditional date of March 21st. This was a major issue for the Catholic Church, as the date of Easter was tied to the spring equinox. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII issued the papal bull Inter Gravissimus to correct this. As of today, there stands 4 countries that have chosen not to adopt the Gregorian. One of them is Ethiopia. The Ethiopian calendar is one of the oldest calendars in the world, still in active use. It is often cited as the most mathematically precise calendar ever created. The Ethiopian calendar sits 7 to 8 years behind the Gregorian calendar. Both calendars are tied to the birth of Christ. The Gregorian places Jesus' birth in 1 AD, whereas the Ethiopian in Gregorian measurement places the birth of Christ in 7 BC. Which is more accurate? The Bible states Matthew 2:1 quote, "Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king," unquote. This is explicitly stating that Jesus was born when King Herod was alive, ruling out 1 AD, as historical records indicate King Herod died in 4 BC. Matthew 2:15, Joseph, Mary, and the infant Jesus remained in Egypt until King Herod's death. Matthew 2:16, he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under. These passages rule out 5 BC, as well as 6 BC, since the family returned from Egypt after King Herod's death. And it's reasonable to assume when they did, Jesus was past the age of 2, therefore 7 BC is the most likely date of the birth of Christ. If that isn't compelling, researchers and astronomers in antiquity and today have noted a rare triple conjunction of the planets Jupiter and Saturn that occurred in the sky in 7 BC, the Star of Bethlehem. With the Ethiopian calendar as our base, it places the current year in 2018. Thus, the aforementioned June 24th, 2018 prophecy would not be a failed prophecy, but a present one waiting to be fulfilled. Further connections can be drawn by examining the 2012 prophecy. Theories emerged that the end of the Mayan calendar on December 21st would mark the end of the world. However, that was actually a misinterpretation of Mayan culture. The end of the Maya long count calendar was never mark an apocalypse. Instead, it symbolized extreme transformation. 2012 was not the end, but the beginning of a global transformation. If we then once again adjust in accordance to the Ethiopian calendar, the 2012 winter solstice lands perfectly on December 31st, 2019. The exact date the World Health Organization marked the onset of the global pandemic COVID-19, which brought about a monumental shift to the state of the world. Now, 7 years later, we see yet again foretelling of a transformational event, mirroring the winter solstice, Midsummer's Day, the summer solstice. The winter solstice symbolizes a state of transformation, isolation, and solitude as the sun drifts from the earth and the chill of nightfall persists. During COVID, we saw exactly that. It was a time of isolation and a time in which the state of the world was transformed. The summer solstice, Midsummer's Day, acts in contrast, symbolizing light and warmth. Occult traditions have long taught that during this time, the veil between our physical reality and the spiritual realm is at its thinnest. Apart from the June 24th connections to the occult and aliens, the day also has connections to Freemasonry. Studying the history of aliens with a keen eye presents an entirely different picture than what we've been told. What they call aliens are not biological creatures from the cosmos, but in fact are spiritual entities, evil entities, demons. Now we must ask, given the already massive amounts of evidence citing the Freemasons as controllers of global affairs, is this just coincidence that a supposed world-changing event is to take place on the single most important date in the history of Freemasonry and to alien enthusiasts, or is this a date that has been planned, marked, and anticipated for centuries? Freemasons' connections to numerology, symbolism, the occult, and looking to the stars for illumination, enlightenment, and truth are all too real. June 24th is approaching. Whether it's a global event, a spiritual shift, or just another date that passes by the pattern is undeniable. The prophecies of the past are aligning with the tensions of the present. Whether you believe in the prophecy or not, the date itself carries a weight that can no longer be ignored.